that. So in this video, I am going to replace the throwout bearing. Hooray. Here's the part number for this brand, Sachs. I don't know the condition of the throwout bearing, but anyway, that's the small part. I'm going to replace the throwout bearing, mount the engine onto the transmission, and then I'm going to wire up a way to start this engine without having everything else. You know, just a simple run the starter to a battery. I'm pretty sure this is a relay, so you know, after I get everything else wired up, touch this on the battery so we'll turn it and things like that. So yeah, the goal of this video, TLDR, is mount engine, start it, test clutch. So yeah, let's go. So a quick overview of what I'm about to do. I'm going to cut that line, throw a fuel filter in it. I'm going to hook up the fuel line there. You see it just barely up to one of my gas cans that has some gas in it, because I'm testing if the line running through the tunnel actually has any leaks, or if the previous owners were just idiots and ran new line for no reason. So yeah, after that I'm going to replace the distributor cap, wires, and that valve cover gasket, because that's what it's done. I thought I got all the oil out of this car, but I guess not. And then I'll give you an overview after I do it, but I'll hook these wires up to the coil. I believe this is a positive. I'll run a spare wire off to a battery that I have charging over there. And then I'll also hook up the main battery cable here. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't have the end on it. Damn. But I'll do that. And then what I'll be doing to start the engine once it... and I remembered I forgot to buy something. Anyway, to turn it over, all I should be doing is touching this to that, if I recall correctly. So yeah, that should be everything. I'm not completely sure why there's two on there, but whatever. So yeah, all it should take is power going to here and here to turn the motor over, and all the coil should need is a positive. I'm not quite sure if it's qualified as grounded, but I might hook a ground up off of here to like there or some shit. But anyway, so yeah, I'll do that stuff and then give you a once over once it's done. Okay, so this is where I'm going to interject a little bit. This is the oil cover, whatever the hell. This thing had a crap ton of sludge with a very weird smell. When removing it, I had some drips of what looked like water. I have to assume it might have been gas, but I am not completely sure where the hell it came from. Also puzzled because I had the car running, but the crap that was in this is just really questionable. So Here's the hoping the engine runs again. Like, I am really surprised this damn thing was running. And look at all this crap, and I've already thrown away a paper towel with a bunch of crap on it. So yeah, here's to hoping that it sounds better when it runs. Okay, and here's me cleaning this thing off. Looks a lot happier now, but this next shot I'm going to show you is underneath, and I'm also going to use it to find out what's underneath, because there's a light on the camera. So hooray! Okay, I apologize now for the shaky camera. So we're going to take a look under here. Looks like there's sludge there also. Gonna have to scrape that off and see what comes after. Yeah, this thing just looks so nasty. Anyway, let's find out. Okay, so I have replaced distributor cap. I have replaced the valve cover gasket and the drain plug gasket. Again, sorry for the shaking. That's just what I do. I added about half a quart of oil to see if it will leak anymore. So, in this next segment, I'll be adding the fuel filter right there to this little line and clamping it down, and then adding the temporary fuel tank up there. Still got to do the wiring. Not quite sure if I'll get around to buying the exhaust manifold before I try to start it, or if it'll just wait and I'll go open, as it were. I imagine that might sound like shit and be obnoxious, but we'll find out. So, on to the next segment. Small update. I went to buy headers that a local shop had. Turns out they sold them a few weeks ago. I should have just bought them when I saw them and realized that they were difficult to find. So, there's the heater boxes and J-pipes, or whatever, however they call. Those have not been welded or mangled. Previous owners had a set of these on the car, and they welded that onto that. That was a bad idea. So, I'm going to try and use the stock ones, bolt them up, and then on these, I had to cut them, and I cut them the best I could, you know, as far in as possible. It's the same on both sides, so I'm hoping that I can finagle those and make them work. One of the reasons I didn't want to use this is, I mean, you got some welds, whatever. Well, let's see if I can get a good view there. Maybe not. I don't feel they did a good job making these fit, because apparently the 40 horsepower engine is a little narrower than most of the engines being used now. So, oh well, we're going to try and make it work. Fun, fun. So the reason why this is put back on is I'm going to have to order another set of headers or the stock exhaust, whatever. But I really want to try and start it now. I figured it'd be better to at least have these exhaust ports at least passing through somewhere. So I'm going to try and start it now. Let me rephrase, I'm going to turn it over first. Here goes nothing. Well, it still turns over, so that's a good start. Quick overview. There's the makeshift fuel tank running to the stock fuel line. I am not sure if that fuel line leaks or something because previous owners ran a new line along the passenger side twice instead of using that. So who knows? There's the line with the fuel filter mounted behind the engine. Heard that helps with vapor lock, things like that. And yeah, it runs up. I have the stock manifold, not the stock, the one that came with this car, just because I currently don't have another option. So it is not actually like sealed or anything. This just directs the front ports to direct all the exhaust fumes somewhere else. What else? I have this positive line here. I have it running over to the battery, currently not hooked up. I also have the battery hooked up to the starter, grounded. This is the makeshift wire I'm using to jump this connector to that connector. So this will send power to the relay to engage the starter. And I think that's everything I need to go over. So let's give her a start. Well, here goes nothing. Scare the shit out of me, why don't you? Fail attempt number 1. Take 2. Attempt number 3 with the stock fuel line bypassed. It appears to have no leaks, but I'm not getting any fuel through it. So we're just going to try it straight from the gas can. Make sure fuel pump didn't die or something. This time with starting fluid. Ooh. Attempt number like 4 or 5 or something. So, attempt number 5, I think, maybe 6, who knows, but trying again. I have replaced the coil because it looked like I was not getting spark, so trying again. Attempt 2, failed. Okay, here we are on attempt number whatever the hell. I have since replaced the fuel pump, the coil. Before that, you saw me replace the spark plugs. The fuel pump didn't look to be pumping anything else, and when I decided to replace the coil, I wasn't hearing any sparks from any of the wires, and I had someone come out with me and hold a screwdriver to it and got nothing. So I assumed the coil was on its way out. Okay, whatever. The fuel pump I replaced a year ago had the car running, well, it had the engine running, and apparently in this year it died. I mean, it got used for 5 minutes and the damn thing died. So anyway, I'm gonna prime the motor, let it build up some oil pressure, and then see if it gets some fuel into the filter, and then try and start it. So, here we go. I may also have the fuel pump hooked up wrong. I do not know. I think I do. So let's try again. Quick switch of the fuel lines. Let's see if I can see some fuel pumping into there. Time to investigate again. Let's try again. And again. Shit. Can't start it without spark. And again. And again. Let's try yet again. So much work for an engine I had running before. Okay. Attempt number, I don't know, some high number. We'll find out if this is the lucky one. And then you'll see in the video which number it was. Oh. Hey. That's great. Fuel line's leaking. Let's fix that. Trying again. Here we go. That probably wasn't good. Well, time to investigate. More little problems. Let's try again. Okay, I guess I'm stopping right there. So, after all those attempts at me starting it, got one last thing apparently to work on again. This carburetor, I think it's like a picked 34 or 34 picked or whatever the hell they call it. Well, either way, you probably won't be able to see. But anyway, after I try to start it, you know, let it run for a little bit, it floods the living shit out of the engine. Like, the engine even couldn't turn over for a little bit. So, now I get to rebuild this little bugger. Hooray! attempt number something. Let's see if it pops again. If it does, I gotta check something else. Sounds of life though. Let's hope it's not like zombie life or some shit. Let's feel. Maybe. That's kind of cool. Let's try yet again, but this time with the vacuum line hooked up to the intake from the car. Let's try again. I'm guessing this is not going to work, and I probably need to adjust the valves. That's my guess. Nope. Time to tweak valves. Well, closing out this segment, I will not be getting the engine running in this segment because it looks like the push rod I had replaced and the push rod sleeve, whatever, it's bent again. So it means either A, the push rod I brought in to get another one is too long or something, I don't know. But it's bent that one again. Went to adjust the valves figuring, hey, maybe I screwed them up. And then found that, oh, hey, yeah, one of the intake valves aren't opening at all. So yeah, anyway, that was fun. Hopefully this video is not too much of a letdown for what few people watch it. Anyway, let's see if I can come back with a running motor.